For our second testimonial of the evening, we will hear about another great man born on this date.
Before I begin, just wanted to ask you guys, how many of you own an iPhone, an iPad, an iPod, an Apple computer? Come on, it's everyone. There's no point lying about it. Right? This just makes my speech easier, because I'm going to talk about someone who's directly linked with Apple. He is a Steve, but he's no Jobs. But I personally believe that he's had more of an impact than Steve Jobs has. Yes, I'm talking about Steve Wozniak, the other founder of Apple. Steve Wozniak, fondly known as Woz, was born on this day 65 years ago, long time ago, right in San Jose, not too far away from here, but, sorry. I have some more old jokes directly right at you, but anyways. So, he attended UC Berkeley. I guess Stanford doesn't have it all, but fortunately for Stanford, he dropped out after a year. In '71, he met Steve Jobs. They became fast friends, and in '72, they began their first, well, it was actually illegal, but it was still their first business, selling blue boxes. So I don't expect anyone here to know what blue boxes are, except probably Professor Waxer, because it was back in the day. Essentially, it was just a way to make long-distance calls, which you had to pay for. But Wozniak, being the genius that he was, managed to figure out a way to make these calls for free. And being the prankster that he was, he called the Vatican, pretended to be Henry Kissinger, and tried to speak to the Pope, but unfortunately the Pope was sleeping at the time. In '73, Woz again came to Jobs' rescue, where Jobs actually had a job at Atari, one of the most well-known developers back in the '90s, game developers. And Jobs basically had a proposition that for every chip that could be removed from a circuit board, he would be paid $100. Wozniak managed to remove 50 chips. That's a lot of money. And all I'm trying to get at is that Wozniak was pretty much a genius, and this was even before he started working on Apple. In '76, Wozniak designed the first circuit board that actually was marketed as Apple I, the foundations of what we now know as Apple. And again, a few years later, he made Apple II, which was again a pioneer in personal computing, because it was the only computer at the time that had computer graphics and color. Can you imagine having a computer without color? I can't. But anyways, this just goes to show that Apple is now the most innovative company, but it wouldn't have existed without Steve Wozniak, and as he's fondly known in the tech world, the Wizard of Woz. So I strongly believe that he's one of the most important people to have been born on this day. He redefined the computer industry, and even though everyone speaks of Steve Jobs when they think about Apple, I think Wozniak is the real brains behind the company. And if all of this doesn't convince you how important he is, he loves dogs.